Hello, hello! My name is Shalana Battles and I'm the author of 3 books. And today I want to talk about the Grand Mason Men series that I am publishing this year and kind of my process with a rapid release. Okay, so something I want to point out really quick is the first book in the series, The Space We Leave. It's Ethan and Rocco's book. It is now with the proofreader, which is, I'm so excited. So this is draft 1, okay, that I printed and did hand edits and hand notes. Keep in mind the size of that, okay? This is draft 2, a lot thicker, that I printed and did hand edits on. And from here to what went to the proofreader, 7,000 more words were added. And so I wanted to show that because if you are a person just starting on this journey and you're struggling to keep going, that's why a lot of writers say, and there's like the quote of you can't edit a blank page, because you can't edit a blank page. What I started with and what I ended with, huge difference both in size, in word count, in like direction of the story and the plot. A lot of things changed, but I never could have got to the end point had I not finished the first draft. And so I just wanted to kind of like give a visual for that, because I think so many young, and I don't mean age young, I mean like starting out young authors, young writers, really struggle with that because they want to be perfectionist, and it's like, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's only the first draft. So get from point A to point B, get from the beginning to the end, and then you have something, right? And you can edit that and you can add to it and you can take away from it and you can polish it and make it great. So yeah, I just wanted to show that, because going from something this size to something this size to something 7,000 more words bigger, you don't expect draft 1 to be perfect. And so if you're struggling, put a note and keep going, keep moving forward. I tell a lot of people that I edit for as well, if they're like, oh, I can't get this scene right, or I don't know what to say here. And I'm like, okay, we'll put a little note, you know, a sentence or two saying this is what I think is gonna happen here, or what I want to happen here, and move on, keep going. By the time you get to the end, you may not need anything there. You may need something completely different, or your original plan might make a lot more sense and you needed those end details to kind of circle back to that scene. So don't be afraid of that. Don't be afraid. I leave notes for myself all the time of like, they need to do this. Even in The Space We Leave, I had a note that I did not deal with until right before I sent it to the proofreader. I had this whole chapter done, and then it ended, and then we went to the next chapter, and Ethan was somewhere else, and I was like, okay, the night before, he needs to decide that he's gonna go do this thing, right? And I knew it had to happen, but for whatever reason, I couldn't write it. And so it was not till the very end, right before I sent that book off to beta readers and to proofreaders, that I was like, okay, let's write the scene of him making this choice. So that's okay. You don't have to have everything there the first time. It doesn't have to be perfect. Now, with the rapid release stuff, come on, focus camera. I wanted to talk about that today because I don't think I'll ever do it again. Never say never, but I don't think I'll ever do it again. And if you are a writer writing a series, this might be helpful for you to think about. So the last book I published was in August of 21. So in August of this year, it'll be 3 years since I've published a book, which is a long time. You really don't want that in the indie author world. Like a book a year is probably like the least amount of books you want to be publishing. And most indie authors try to publish multiple books a year because it keeps their readers, you know, with something new to read. It keeps their marketing fresh. It keeps their name out there. So it's really important for your brand and for your business and for your readers and just everything that you're publishing. Now, that doesn't mean just publish everything, right? There is a quality that should be upheld. So if you are only writing a book a year, but you're writing a really good book a year, publish a book a year. Some of my favorite authors that I love and follow publish a book a year. And so you'll find kind of what works best for you. Then there's authors that, Kenny D. Fox, they don't write together anymore. They recently went their separate ways, but they were publishing like a book every 2 or 3 months, I think. Like they were, bam, they were, yes. But there's 2 of them, right? And they were publishing a lot, very high volume, but their quality wasn't lacking. They were publishing good books. They found a method that worked for them to be able to publish that many books that quickly. So you'll find that as you go on. I still don't think I have found that. In a perfect world, I'd love to be the author that's publishing a book every 3 or 4 months. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm still kind of finding my footing with that. Prior, I think Soul Jumper and The Man Before You were published in the same year. I think those were both 2020 and Encampment was 2021. So just going off that, I'm probably about a book a year person unless I pushed myself to be more than that, or to publish more than that. But again, that's not a bad thing if you're putting those out. The bad thing, don't do this, is not publishing anything. These last 3 years, I lost a lot of marketing opportunities and sales and a lot of things by not publishing. And there's a lot of reasons I didn't publish, and I've talked about those before, you know, moving and having a kid, a second kid, and just a lot of life stuff that writing wasn't happening. So on the one hand, yes, I'm disappointed that I didn't publish, but the flip side of that is I don't know, with everything that was going on in my life at the time, that like how I would have done that differently. I think it just happened the way it was gonna happen. So you put that into perspective. I haven't published in 3 years. When I publish this year, I'm publishing 4 books. The Grand Mesa Men series will go out all at once. All 4 books at one time. So if you put that into perspective, it's like, okay, it's been 3 years since you published, but you're publishing 4 books. So had I published them, that's about a book a year, you know? 1 year with 2 books, which is kind of my track record. So it does depend on how you look at it, but I do think it was a mistake not to release Ethan's book and Kyson's book, and that would put me working on the 3rd book right now. Because those books could have already been getting sales, they could have already been being marketed, building up like excitement and readership for the series. So there's a lot of reasons why I don't think this was a good plan. And I don't think I'd do it again in the future. I think that if you have a series, finish the book, publish the book, write the next book. And that's what I plan to do. I already have a series that I am so excited about. So excited about that it's making it hard to finish the Grand Mesa Men series. And I love the Grand Mesa Men series and I love those characters so much. But it's so funny when you're a writer and you tell the story. A lot of writers will relate to this. You tell the story, right? And then you want to tell the next story. It's the editing and the publishing and the marketing and all that. Like, yes, it's necessary, but I'm a storyteller. Like, once I get the story out, I'm ready for the next story. And so the business part of it is the part that I kind of have to force myself to do. If this camera ever focuses, I'll be just shocked. Half of me talking and this is going to be blurry, but oh well. And with that series, I plan to publish in order. So I'll publish the first book and then have a timeline to release the following books. But I did want to talk about that today because I feel like a lot of newer authors, they may be thinking about that of, should I publish the entire series? Should I wait? Should I do this? Should I do that? I think write book 1, publish book 1, market book 1, and then write book 2 and publish that one. I think it's better to keep your name out there and keep relevant and keep your books in front of people and in front of readers. This is all personal opinion, but I wanted to share it because having done this, I really, really don't think it's something I'll ever do again. I think that I'm excited to release the Grand Mason Men series, and I'm excited that I can do it in like a box set and say, here's all of them. You don't have to wait. If you want to binge read them, they're all there for you. Like, that's fun. That'll be fun once it's time to publish. But I just think as like a business model, for a writer like me, it's not a good idea. It's not smart. If you're a writer who can get books out really, really quick, and you write really fast, and you want to rapid release a series, I think that's great. I think you just have to know, how quick do you write? How quick do you go from draft 1 to a publishable draft? And just kind of think about that in terms of like what you're capable of. So I think doing this was great. It was a huge learning experience for me. And like I said, I'll be excited when I'm holding all 4 books and I'm able to sell them as a package. That's going to be fun. But I don't think it was a smart business choice, especially being a newer author. I don't have a big reader following. And so I think that was also a mistake. If I had a lot of readers and a lot of people kind of like waiting for my next thing, that'd be different. So again, I'm talking as a person who is new to this industry, talking to writers who are new to this industry. This stuff is not going to apply to people who have like huge readerships, huge reader followings, and all of that stuff. And those people know that. And so this is for baby writers, people just starting out, and not even baby writers, but baby indie authors. And that's coming from somebody who's, let me think about this for a second. I've been doing this almost 5 years, I think. And I still feel brand new. And so I wanted to share that because I think it's important to think about. The other thing with that is, if you're a person just starting out and you're writing a series, do not end that series. Do not end book 1, in my opinion, on a cliffhanger, because you don't have the readership to wait for a book 2. There are exceptions to this rule, for sure. There are books that blow up immediately and they have the reader following immediately, and they have people pushing for book 2 and waiting for book 2. But if you're just starting out and you're doing all of your own publishing and marketing and all of that stuff, think about that as well. I almost ended Soul Jumper on a cliffhanger, and now I'm so thankful that I didn't, because it doesn't have a sequel. It may one day, but imagine if I had a book in 2019 end on a cliffhanger. Here we are, 2024, and that book is not even, no sequel in sight. Like, that is not even like on my time frame right now. I'm like, Grand Mason Men series, this next series that I'm working on. There are like some short stories that I want to work on for Soul Jumper, but the point is, that's way too long for readers to be waiting for something when you don't have a huge following. So just think about that as you're going. My editor told me that. She was like, do not end this on a cliffhanger. You don't know where you're going to be next, what you're writing next, what your plan is, and that was very solid advice, and I'm really glad I listened to her, because you can always write a next story, right? It doesn't have to end on a cliffhanger to have a sequel or to have a third book. Give your readers enough that they feel complete. And then if you have some questions that are left unanswered, like I did in Soul Jumper, then you can bring those up later on. But I'm really glad I listened to her. So think about that stuff going forward. Think really hard about whether or not to rapid release. I don't recommend it. Think about how you're ending your books. I recommend ending them in a solid, complete way so that readers feel satisfied, but still excited if you do publish another book, either a sequel or another book in that same world. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I would love to help you if you're just starting out. If you're looking for a beta reader or an editor, I've been doing a ton of that here lately too. So send that stuff my way. It's just my name at gmail.com, so shalanabattles@gmail.com if you want to reach out to me. And I will see you guys next week. Bye!